Sawadee-ka. Thank you for coming. I want to take this time to tell you about a company, a wonderful company that you all know very well, CPL. CPL is experiencing a period of supernormal growth right now. They are the dominant firm in their industry, and they will continue to be the dominant firm through maturity and market saturation. And despite all of these, they are overpriced in the market, and we're going to tell you to sell them today at a target price of 45 baht, which represents a 15.4% downside. To tell you what they do is my friend Ashim.
With 6,251 stores, CPL 7-Eleven stores are the third largest network in the world after US and Japan. They have 11 subsidiary businesses that support their store network, and with 92% of their revenue coming from store sales, their subsidiaries only amount to 8% of the total sales revenue. When looking at revenue growth drivers, adding product mix to the individual store, that is same store sales growth, increasing percentage of food versus non-food items, and we see margin on food items are more than non-food items, and increasing the number of retail outlets, which they have been doing according to their plan of adding 500 stores every year. Here we can see like the food items have higher margin than the non-food items, but when you look at the product sales mix from Q1 to Q3, you can notice the margin is not so much. It amounts to only 0.33% of the total sales mix. To tell you more of the macro mix, here's Jeffrey.
Alright. There are several macro trends affecting CPL right now. The first is the robust GDP growth in Thailand, which stands at 4% since the year 2000. This has created a per capita GDP today of 147,500 baht per person. With this growth, it has created a middle class of about 22 million people who now have an unprecedented purchasing power here in Thailand. In addition to that, we're having urbanization. Presently, 34% of Thai population lives in an urban setting. That rate is increasing at about 1.8% annually. This is bringing more Thai people, into a modern lifestyle that stresses increased retail spending, higher time pressures, and the need for convenience, as we're seeing demonstrated in the fact that the average urban dwelling Thai uses a convenience store about 13 times per month. In addition to this, we're seeing growth in the retail sector itself. The retail sector currently stands at about 16.5% of GDP and is increasing about 5% compound annual growth rate. At a 5% compound annual growth rate is only 1% over the GDP growth rate. At a price earnings of 24 times, we found this entire sector to be overvalued. As for CPL's position in the market, as I told you before, they are the dominant firm, representing about 52 and change% market share right now. That's 6,251 stores, sorry. The market penetration in Thailand total is only about 1 convenience store per 6,000 people. This is far below more mature Asian peers. If we apply a more mature markets of Japan and Taiwan population penetration, that brings us to about 1 store for 2,500 people, which gives us a market growth to saturation or maturity level of about 31,000 convenience stores here in Thailand. CPL is positioned to capture 62% of that growth in the total market, bringing their market share from about 52% to about 58%. However, having abandoned their plans to pursue into China and into Vietnam, this is the limit of their growth. So we find that even though they can grow to 3 times their current size, at a price earnings of 27 times their current earnings, that's a very expensive stock, and Mats is going to tell you why.
Yeah, as my associate Jeffrey told you, we have made a valuation based on comparables, fundamental and strategic measures. If we look first at the history of CPO. They have experienced a growth, compounded annual growth rate the last 5 years of 15%. And a growth in net profits the last 5 years of 23%. That's a super normal growth, almost never seen before. But looking forward, we also realize that they won't be able to maintain that growth in all eternity. They will, as every company, converge down to the general GDP in the world. So, based on our calculations, we have compounded annual growth rate in the revenue of 12.6%. In the same period, if we focus on the earnings per share, we see a growth in 13.7%, which is also great, but the growth is abnormal. This basically means that it will stop. It will be capped by the factors that Jeff mentioned. In other words, even though we see a good growth in net operating profits, less adjusted taxes, and free cash flow, everything is already priced into the stock. And I will show you that by using our fundamental measures, such as the dividend discount model and the discounted cash flow model. We have also used comparables in our valuation, but let's see. We have made a 3-stage DCF model with an analytical period, a convergence stage, and perpetual stage. We have used a risk-free rate of 4.6% and a market premium of 5.7% in our capital asset pricing model. We have also used a beta factor of 0.85%, which leaves us with a discount rate of approximately 9.3%. Applying these assumptions to our model, we get a DCF target price of 44.06 baht, or 44 baht and 6 satang per stock. Our dividend discount model gives us a target price of 46.65 baht per stock, which supports our target price. But in able to view CPO in context of their competitors, we have also used a range of multiples. We have used everything from price earnings, and as you can see, CPO is priced to 27. This is just an excerpt of the general market, but if you use the whole retail sector, the factor is 24. But by this excerpt, to compare the closest competitors, we get that the mean is 22 in price earnings. CPO is 27. But CPO should be priced higher than their competitors. They have an unmatched distribution network. They have basically no interest-bearing debt. And they have a management which have exceeded expectation and is basically also the largest shareholder of the company. We have also looked on other multiples, such as price divided by book value, but these measures has their weaknesses since they focus on historical book numbers, which is not relevant to today's market price. We have also used enterprise value divided by NOPLAT and enterprise value divided by EBITDA. And every single one of these measures tells us that CPO is priced higher than their competitors. But if I were to apply only the price earnings ratio, it will give us an upper limit of the target price of 45 baht per share and a lower limit of 27. So our target price is based on the DCF and the dividend cash flow model, the ratios, and the strategic factors. This gives us a total target price of 46 baht per share. Now Ashim's going to tell you very shortly.
Alright. Three things that have been working for CPO is the distribution network. They have a very efficient distribution system, the distribution to individual stores, and the products for chilled products. So why would people prefer CPO when all the competitors can offer them the same thing? When all the hypermarkets have the same products and services, and they can apply the same to the mini store formats. That, go to the next one. I will give it to Jeff.
All right, we'll conclude with that. There you have it. A great company made into a bad investment by an overzealous market. They are the dominant firm.
Team 2,
and they
your
deserve
time is up.